Hello, dear students. Once again, welcome back to the online session. Myself, Jojish, your English teacher. Dear students, in the previous session, we have studied a lesson from our honeysuckle textbook. That was the last lesson, lesson number 10, the banyan tree. I hope you all understood this lesson very clearly. And the main idea from that lesson was that the author of the lesson, Ruskin Bond, has written the story of from his personal experience. So first part we have told about the banyan tree and the speciality of the banyan tree also we discussed there. And the second part, it was the fight between mongoose and cobra. So the fight between mongoose and cobra is a classical drama often seen in India. We have already discussed in the previous lesson. And the particular author, Ruskin Bond, when he was sitting on the banyan tree, he could see that sight. The fight between mongoose and cobra, he could see by sitting on the banyan tree. So that was a lucky chance he got to see the fight between mongoose and cobra. And we have already seen what was the outcome. What was the result of that fight? The mongoose killed the snake and kept in the bush. So that was the power of the mongoose. How mongoose was able to kill the snake because of the faster movements. So that all we discussed in the previous section. Today I'm standing here in front of you to take a new lesson from our supplementary reader. That is the 9th lesson, What Happened to the Reptiles. What happened to the reptiles? This chapter is a little bit long, so we will be telling in detail. So what happened to the reptiles? So when we come to the heading of this lesson, reptiles, you know what is reptiles? So what are reptiles? Reptiles, some of the animals, the family of animals, snakes, lizards, crocodiles, all these are called reptiles. So what happened to the reptiles? So by the end of this story, we will understand or we will get a beautiful message. So there is a beautiful message given in this story. So that message we will be getting by the end of this lesson. So I need your attention to hear this lesson and to get the moral of the lesson. So I will be reading the lesson to you and will explain very detailedly and in a clear method. So let's start. Lesson number 9, what happened to the reptiles? So please take your supplementary text and page number 33. What happened to the reptiles? So before the content or before the part, a short description is given there in the textbook. Pambupati is a peaceful village inhabited by a variety of people. Prem, the narrator of the story, flees his village under unfortunate conditions to reach Pambupati by chance. An old resident of the village looks after him and tells him an interesting story. So here, the narrator of this story or the character of this story is, who is that? It's Prem. Prem. So we are going to tell the story of Prem at the beginning. Okay. So Prem is the name of the boy. And Pambupati is a peaceful village. Pambupati is the name of the village, peaceful village. So peaceful village. Pambupati is very peaceful village. So the name of the village is Pambupati and name of the character here is Prem. Okay. So what do you mean by peaceful village? People are helping each other. Good atmosphere is there. There is no violence, no problem. All are helping, all are loving each other. So that is the indication of peaceful village. So by seeing this picture, What do you feel? So this picture is showing a peaceful village. So the beautiful atmosphere is given here. So this indicates a peaceful village because there is no violence. So everything gives in a beautiful. So beautifully arranged this. So beautiful, peaceful village means there is no violence, no fight, nothing is there. People are living with love, affections, coordinations, everything is there in the village. So Pambupati is a peaceful village. You may not believe this story, but I can tell you it is true because I have been to Pambupati, a village on the edge of the jungle. It is on a cliff and the vast forest stretches below like a mossy green carpet. There are many kinds of people in the village: dark, fair, tall, short. They speak many languages. Some eat meat, some don't. Some pray in a small temple at the edge of the forest. Others pray in a mosque some miles away. So, the first paragraph we are discussing about the village Pambupati. What is the specialty of the village? It is a peaceful village. So how this village is peaceful, it is showing there. Different kinds of people live there. Some are black, some are dark, some are white, some are short, some are long. So different kinds of or different shapes are there for the people, as well as different religions are there. The people, Hindus are there, Muslims are there, Christians are there. So different varieties of people are living there in the particular village called Pambupati. Before he is telling that you may not believe this story, but this is true. This is true. So it is just at the edge of the forest. By looking, it just like a someone has kept the green carpet. It looked like that. Others, some pray in small temple at the edge of the forest. Others pray in a mosque some miles away. And their eating habits also different. Different people, different eating habits are there. Some eat meat, some don't eat. Some are vegetarian, some are non-vegetarian. So it doesn't matter. The village is very peaceful. My name is Prem, and I live many hundred miles away from Pambupati. I had heard about the village, but I would never been there. Then last year, something terrible happened. The people of my own village went mad. Far, far away in a place they have never even been to, a temple or mosque had been burnt down, and they went mad. They started fighting with one another. Some had to run away in the middle of the night. And at 3 in the morning, as I lay in my house, half awake to the sounds of hate and violence, there was a fire. Many houses were burned down in the fire. One of them was mine. So here in the second paragraph, Prem, the name of the boy Prem, he told to us that I had heard about Pambupati, but I did not get the chance to go there. First of all, we are telling about the peaceful village called Pambupati. Second paragraph, Prem is telling that I heard about this particular village called Pambupati, but I did not get chance to go there. I did not get chance to go there. Next, he is telling about his village. It is 100 miles away from Pambupati. His village is 100 miles away from Pambupati. So he is telling about the speciality of his village. The people of his village has gone mad because they started to fight each other. There is no peaceful atmosphere in his village. It is not just like Pambupati village. It is something different. One night they have gone mad. They started to kill each other. They started to make violence. So many churches, so many mosques, so many temples have burned, and people are crying and running away. So that was told by Prem. So at 3 in the morning, when I was sleeping on my bed, I heard the sound, people are crying and running, full violence is there. And when I opened my eyes, I could see that so many houses are burning, and one of them was mine. The people started to fight each other. They are killing because those one group who prays in mosque, one group who prays in church, they don't like each other, so they started to make violence. I managed to grab a few clothes, some coins, my little Ganesh statue, and I ran. I ran for a day and a night, rushing whenever my legs would not carry me any further. I jumped onto a train, then on a bus. No tickets, never mind. Everyone seemed to be running. Finally, I found myself in Pambupati and I saw some villagers gathered near a well. I ran to them, and before I could say a thing, I fainted. So what happens here? Our particular boy Prem, he is telling that in my village, full of violence, the people are fighting like anything. The people are fighting each other. They are burning the houses, burning churches, burning mosques, burning temples, and people kill one another. So there is no peaceful atmosphere in the village. So when I opened my eyes, even my house also was burning. So what I did, I could find something else there. I grabbed a Ganesh statue, some coins, and few clothes. I have taken all these things and I also ran away. I was running and running. So I was taking rest when my legs could not carry me, because when I was feeling pain, I was running. So continuously I was running. I entered in bus and I entered in train. So there is no ticket, never mind. Everyone seems to be running. So by running and running, he reached the particular village called Pambupati. Before he told, I have never been to there. But because of the violence of his village, he used to run. That's why, unfortunately, he reached the village Pambupati, where the peaceful village. So when he reached the village, he saw some of the people gathered near a well, and he ran to them. Before he tell a word, before he tells a word to them, he fainted. That means he became unconscious because he was running. Day and night he was running. So because of the tiredness, he became unconscious and fell down. The first one we have discussed about the peaceful village, and the second one we have discussed about the village of Prem. Two different villages are there. One village is very peaceful and another village full of violence. I have shown you a picture about the peaceful village. Now you compare these both pictures. What you find here? So this is the peaceful village, and here full of violence. The fires are there, so there is no peaceful atmosphere here. But peaceful atmosphere is here. By seeing this picture only, we can understand this particular village is a peaceful village, because so many things are there. Nothing violence is there. People are very happy here and they are leading a peaceful life. So this is the indication of peaceful village, and here everywhere full of fire. So this is the indication of violence. Okay, so here violence. So this is the two difference of villages. So one village wherever violence is there, the Prem was there, and by running day and night, by chance he reached the village called Pambupati, a peaceful village. When I opened my eyes, I saw an old man with white hair, white beard, and shining black eyes bending over me. For the next few days, he looked after me, putting food in my mouth and bringing me sweet, cool water from the stream. He rubbed my feet gently and made the pain go away. Neighbors, strangers, everyone came to visit me. So, when I opened my eyes, who is telling all these things? Prem. When I opened my eyes, I saw an old man with white beard and white hair, bending over me, and he is giving me food. He is giving me water. He is rubbing my feet to go away the pain. So he is doing everything favor to me. And so many neighbors, strangers came to visit me. They all are loving. So they all are looking me out of sympathy. They all showed sympathy to me. So particular, especially this particular person, aged man who is having white beard and white hair and black shining eyes. Even though he is putting food to my mouth, so he knows that I am not able to eat food myself. So he was giving food, he was giving water, and he was doing whatever I need. Tell me, grandfather, I said to him one day, I have never seen people like the villagers here. In my village, people fight with those who pray to another god. But here, this seems a strange place. So the boy is telling that. One day he told to grandfather, or he asked to grandfather, tell me, grandfather, what is the strange thing I am seeing here? Because it's very different from my village to this village. Here, all the people are kind. But in my village, people are not kind. They have gone mad. They started to beat one another who prays to another god. People fight with those who pray to another god. Hindus are fighting with Christians. Christians are fighting with Muslims. Like that, all religious violence is there. The people of my village have gone mad, but the people of this village is something different. They love one another. So I have not seen people like this. Prem, replied the old man, I will tell you the story of Pambupati. You can take this story back to your village. Maybe it will heal some of its wounds and dry some of its sores. Then the grandfather told, Prem, there is a story behind of this Pambupati village. So Pambupati was a peaceful village, and there is a story behind that. And that story I will tell you. After listening that story, the story you can take back to your village. By hearing that one, at least some of them will understand. It will cure some of the wounds or sores, replied by grandfather. Oh, grandfather, I said anxiously, don't say that. What I have seen in my village makes me burn with shame. I never want to go back there. So here the Prem replied, don't say, grandfather, to me that, because I don't want to go to my village, because what I have seen there, it's burned me with shame, because people are not understanding the value of one another. They kill each other, they loot each other, they don't respect each other. So I don't want to go there. So I want to live here, because I want to live in this peaceful village, because here people are very kind. But that's exactly why you must go back, he said in a soft voice. I kept quiet. I didn't want to argue with him, and I wanted to hear the story. Then the grandfather told, your village is not peaceful village. So exactly that's why you want to go there. You have to make that village as a peaceful village. But Prem did not reply. He just listened that, kept quiet, and ready to listen the story of Pambupati. So this was just introduction of this lesson. The difference between two villages, Pambupati village and the village Prem lives. The village Prem lives, the people have gone mad. They started to kill each other. They started to loot each other, and they don't have any respect to one another. They are burning mosque, church, temple, and full violence was there in the particular village where Prem lives. But another one village, Pambupati, is a peaceful village. Different peoples are there. Different kind of people are there. Some are dark, some are fair, some are short, some are long, some are fat, some are thin. Some people eat meat, some people don't. Some are praying in mosque, some are praying in church or temple. There is no problem in the village of Pambupati. And when he reached the village Pambupati, he heard the story from grandfather that we are going to read here. So when he reached the village Pambupati, the grandfather told, there is a story behind of this particular village. How this village became a peaceful village, there is a story. So I will be telling you the story. You just listen me. So this was the introduction. Now we are going to tell the story of the particular village called Pambupati. Okay. Grandfather is telling story to Prem. Prem is listening the story of Pambupati. It happened long time ago. He began. So long ago that there were no schools and no teachers. Children lived in caves with their parents and helped them to collect fruit and berries from the forest. At that time, there were no tigers or panthers or elephants in Pambupati forest. There were only reptiles, many kinds of reptiles. Now you know what reptiles are. Snakes, crocodiles, turtles, lizards, and you know that a reptile has scales on its body and it lays eggs. So now the grandfather started to tell the story of Pambupati. It was a long years ago. There was no schools, no teachers. The students, the children were going with their parents, and parents will be collecting something from the forest. The children also will be followed by them, and they are living in the caves. And at that time, in that Pambupati forest, there was no elephants, no tigers, no lions. Only reptiles were there. Reptiles means crocodiles, snakes, lizards, turtles. These type of reptiles were only there in particular forest called Pambupati. So there was no tigers, no elephants, no lions, nothing was there, and no schools, no teachers. Children used to go with their parents and collect some fruits, berries from the forest, and they live in cave. Only reptiles were there in the forest. Everyone came. Every month, the reptiles of Pambupati had a big meeting. Everyone came, the pretty excited snakes, the slow, thoughtful tortoises, the clever, cute lizards, and the moody crocodiles grumpy because they were out of water. The president of these meetings was Makara, the biggest crocodiles of the forest. Now, every month, these reptiles will be having one meeting. So, for the meeting, all reptiles should be present there. Snakes were there, crocodiles were there, lizards were there. So, for the meeting, a president is. What is the name of the president? It's Makara. Makara is the president of the meeting. And this is the biggest crocodile. Makara is the biggest crocodile and he is the president of the meeting. So there only reptiles were there. So every month they had a meeting. For that meeting, all the reptiles will be present there, and the president of the meeting was Makara, and he was the biggest crocodile. All the animals thought he was very important. When someone is strong and powerful, you know it's difficult not to go along with what he says or does. So all the reptiles, snakes, lizards, and crocodiles, and everybody thought that Makara is very powerful. So all reptiles followed what Makara told. What Makara told, all reptiles followed because they don't have the courage to go against what Makara was telling. So he was as the president of the meeting, the biggest crocodile. Now, one day, a strange thing happened. It was a week before one of the monthly meetings. Makara sent a letter to the tortoises asking them not to come to the meeting. Ahiste, the big old star tortoise with black and yellow pictures on his shell, was very angry. What does this mean? He shouted. How dare they? But not one of the tortoises had the courage to attend the meeting. They were so few, the others so many. And one of the times, so I will show the picture of Makara. This is Makara, the biggest crocodile. So he is the biggest crocodile and he is the president of the meeting. So one day, what happened? The president of the meeting. One day, the president called a meeting. All the reptiles presented there, and he told, "Today I have taken a different decision that we don't want tortoises. We don't want tortoises, and I have already sent a letter to the tortoises that you have to leave the forest. You have to leave the forest and should not come back to the forest. You have to leave the forest and should not come back to the forest." So the leader of these tortoises, Ahiste, Ahiste was the leader of the tortoise. Leader of tortoise. So Ahiste was the leader of tortoise. When he got the letter, he became very angry. How they can take this type of decision? How dare they? He became very harming. How dare they tell that to leave the forest? But no one was there to go for the meeting because Makara has already sent the notice that tortoises should not come for the meeting. They should go out of the forest. What does this mean? He shouted. How dare they? But not one of the tortoises had the courage to attend the meeting. They were so few, the others so many. Before the meeting, the giant Makara polished his teeth with the red flowers of the tree by the river till they sparkled. Everyone was waiting for him at the meeting place. Brothers and sisters, he began, all the reptiles, even the beautiful king cobras, stopped talking. Makara continued his speech. I have decided that we don't need the tortoises. I have told them not to come today. Brothers and sisters, can you tell me why we don't like the tortoises? So, before the meeting starts, the Makara polished his teeth and told, brothers and sisters, today there is one specialty for the meeting. Today we can't see tortoises because I have already given a message to them that to leave the forest and don't come for the meeting and don't come back to the forest. So we don't want them. And he is asking to them, brothers and sisters, do you know why we don't want the tortoises in our forest? He asked to other reptiles. The reptiles looked this way and that. They felt very uncomfortable. The snakes hissed anxiously. The lizards wriggled their tails. The crocodiles opened their jaws even wider. But, said one little lizard, no buts, shouted Makara. There was silence. I think, said a baby crocodile. No, I think, screamed Makara, so loudly that the fruit in the tree above him rained down. After that, no one had the courage to speak. Makara cleared his throat and showed a few more teeth. Well, he said, I will tell you why we don't like the tortoises. They are so slow, so stupid, they even carry their houses on their back. Whoever had heard of such a stupid thing? Now, you lizard, you live in trees. Would you ever carry a tree on your back? Would you? Small, frightened voice answered together, no, we wouldn't. So, what was the answer given by Makara? Makara told, do you know what is the reason I wanted to send the tortoises away from the forest? Some of them started to give some of the explanation, but Makara was not ready to listen them. He told, I will tell you the reason. Because they are so stupid. So even they are carrying their houses on their back. So we don't want such type of different creatures in our forest. So that's why I wanted to leave them. So I wanted to send them out of the forest because they are slow, they are so stupid and they are very slow and they carry their own houses on their back. So we don't want such type of creatures in our forest. That's why I wanted to send them back. So here the picture is there that this is the tortoise. So he is the Ahiste. So you can see that they carry their houses on their back. So this was the reason to send them out of the forest found by the president Makara. Makara told they are very stupid, they are very slow, and they carry their own houses on their back, and we don't want such type of creatures. So I want to kick them out of the forest. So I have already sent the message that don't come for the meeting and you have to leave the forest. Now listen, I have told the tortoises that they will have to move out of Pambupati. When they go, we will have more of everything. More food, more water, more space. And I want them out by tomorrow. But because they are such a slow coaches, I have given them 1 week. By next Tuesday, we won't have a single tortoises left in this jungle. So Makara told, now listen, Makara told to other reptiles, now listen what I am going to tell. I wanted to make them out of the forest by tomorrow itself, but they are slow coaches. They can't go fast, so I have given them 1 week time. So by next Tuesday, no more crocodiles, no more tortoises will be left in the forest. So if they go out of the forest, we will be having more space, we will have more food, we will have more water, everything we will be having. So we can remove them from the forest. And by the following Tuesday, they were all gone. At first, the animals were sad, but then they realized that what Makara had said was true. There was more food, more water, and more space for them. But soon, a strange smell began to fill the forest. It was the smell of rotting fruit on the ground, rotting animals in the river. This was what the tortoises used to eat. And even Makara had to go about holding his nose with his big claws. So by next Tuesday, all the tortoises left the forest because Makara has given 1 week time for them. Within that 1 week, all the tortoises left the forest. When the tortoises left the forest, other reptiles felt very sad. But later they realized what Makara has taken the decision was true because there was more space, more food, and more water. But after some time, what happened? Some strange thing happened. What was that? The rotting smell. The decaying smell of fruits, decaying smell of animal. So what all the decay items are there, its smell started to spread everywhere because that was the food of tortoises. All the decayed, all the rotting items were the food of tortoises. When the tortoises were there, they used to eat all these things. So there was no rotting smell at that time. But when the tortoises left the forest, there was nobody to eat that. So all the rotting smells started to spread everywhere. And even the Makara also started to close his nose while walking. So this was the first part of the lesson. So here we discuss first the difference between two villages, the village of Prem and the peaceful village called Peak by Chance. He heard some other stories from the grandfather who helped him by giving food and something. So that was the story of the peaceful village Pambupati, and here there in the peaceful village Pambupati, there was only reptiles long years ago. So when the reptiles conduct meeting, there was a president for that called MAKARA, so the biggest crocodile. And when they conduct meeting, monthly meeting for a particular month, there was a strange decision was taken by President MAKARA that the tortoises should leave the forest. So he sent the tortoises out of the forest due to some of the reasons, and later when the tortoises left the forest, all the rotting smell started to spread there. So read till then. Goodbye.